Great to see you this morning. So nice to see you, Mike and Eileen, Cynthia. Great to see you, and Sue and Tom.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today for our mindful movement and meditation. Again, as I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, I do have transcription on the bottom of the screen for one of our participants who's hard of hearing. And if you want to turn that off, you can easily go to your bottom of your screen and write hide subtitles, or you can keep it up if you think that might be helpful. But today we're going to begin on the mat with a lying down yoga sequence, and then move into sitting and engage in a mountain meditation. So go ahead and find a position right now that's comfortable for you, lying down on your back, and we'll begin. And so whether you're on a yoga mat or your bed or a hard surface, just lying flat with the legs outstretched, the toes falling away from one another, opening up the arms to your side with the fingers extended and the arms extended, perhaps turning your palms up just a tiny bit if that's comfortable for you. And just maybe beginning by noticing how your body feels this morning, lying here. If you need to make some adjustments, maybe noticing some asymmetry on the right or the left, go ahead and move in that way, and then come to stillness. Begin feeling the weight and heaviness of your body resting here. The contact points all the way from the bottom of your heels or ankles and calves, the back of your thighs, the heaviness of the hips and buttocks touching down. Feeling right where the upper back and shoulders begin to meet the surface, the weight and pressure here, the area of the arms or hands, and then the back of the head, this region between the ears that's making contact. Beginning to feel a bit held by the floor, doing your best to release any unnecessary muscle tension, softening the features of your face, where we tend to hold on to a lot of our tension without realizing it. And then touching in for a moment with the breath. Breathing just your natural, steady rhythm with nothing to do. Just noticing that you're breathing. Breathing and knowing you're breathing. Perhaps feeling the rise of the belly and chest, this full expansion in the front and the sides as the chest cavity and abdomen widen. Maybe feeling the pressure of the breath on the region of the upper back with the in-breath. And noticing and being fully with the sensations of release as everything caves in, the belly falling downward towards the spine. Each out breath, letting go a little bit more, softening all the features and letting go of what's not needed here in the form of muscle tension. Just this breath and the next. Nowhere to go and nowhere to be in this moment. The lovely thought of simply allowing yourself to be present with the breath and with the physical sensations of stillness, and then the physical sensations of movement to help anchor us to what's here right now as we begin our day. And so let's begin by turning the palms down and sliding both of your heels up and beginning to bring your knees up above and give yourself a little hug. So clasping the hands over or under the knees. Drawing the knees up slowly, so that you're throughout this practice carefully attending to the shifts and changes of sensation, turning your inner eye towards what's here with this movement, feeling the touch of the breath on the thighs, perhaps, this pressure, and breathing. Perhaps tucking in a bit deeper if you'd like to, and noticing the sensations in the back of the hips, of the spine. Lifting your forehead up to the knees if you feel that would be supportive for you. Maybe pulling in just a drop more. As I always mention, well, first going ahead and letting your spine and your head rest, maybe softening a little, but knowing that however you choose to engage in this is right. There's no wrong way to do this. There's nothing to achieve here. Just moving and recognizing what's right for your body, exploring the sensations. And so perhaps going ahead and letting both the knees as one unit just drift off a little bit to the left as you turn your head to the right. And breathing. And with the rhythm of the breath, going ahead and just letting the knees fall a little bit to the right and the head to the left. We're only moving in a small arc here, beginning to wake up some of our spine, just a gentle rotation of the spine here. Moving at your own pace with the breath and touching in with sensations of shift of weight or what's happening in the spine as we begin to wake it up with this gentle movement. All the way up from the neck to the base of the spine. And then coming to stillness and placing your hands on the top of your knees. Being with your breath and then going ahead and moving those knees in small circles in either direction. Noticing how the shift of weight can be touched in on and noticed as you sort of sense into a bit of a massage on the base of the sacrum, the hips, the lower spine, and maybe perhaps moving in the opposite direction. Just breathing, being with this simple movement pattern and coming to stillness, drawing those knees up one more time, gently with the breath, coming up as far as it feels right for you, maybe exploring what's possible here as you're offering yourself this level of intimate attention. And then releasing a bit and letting the legs return down so that they are straight, outstretched, and flat to the surface. And an in-breath and on an out-breath, letting the toes flop out to the side, opening up the palms, and letting go of all the muscle tension here. And start re-softening the features of your face and being with the breath. Noticing how the body feels now. Perhaps has there been any shift or change in the body after moving the hips and the knees in that position and your spine? And turning your palms down, we'll move into some heel slides. So keeping your left leg outstretched and straight, flat to the surface. Palms down. Going ahead and beginning to slide the right heel up the surface with the breath, all the way until you feel that the heel can't touch, lifting that right knee up, grabbing onto that right knee, whether your fingers are clasped over or under is just fine. And with the breath, slowly drawing that knee up to your chest. Noticing the opening of the hip here. The breath. These shifts and changes of sensation as you continue to draw the knee up as far as feels right for you without forcing anything. But at the same time, exploring and discovering what's possible. Maybe on the next out breath, if you feel this is right for you, drawing that knee up just a little bit more. careful attention as to what's present for you. And then releasing a little bit of the tension and putting your right hand to your side, continuing to hold the right knee with your left hand and beginning to guide this right knee across the body to the left as you turn your head to the right, doing your best to keep the shoulders on the right side flat to the floor. And a lot of sensations being woken up here as we move into this deeper trunk rotation, all the way from the base of the spine, perhaps all the way up to the top of the spine, deep in the hip region, maybe even noticing sensations of stretching through the abdomen or the outer part of this right thigh. Where are you noticing it today in this moment? Just continuing as far as you feel is right for you right now, and breathing. If you'd like to on an out breath or not, perhaps continuing down just a drop more with close attention and sensitivity. Feeling into this deeper trunk rotation and breathing. And then as you feel ready, going ahead and returning that knee back up towards the ceiling and switching hands. So your right hand is now on the right knee and your left hand can rest comfortably to your side, beginning to open up the right knee out to the right. Your head is gazing up at the ceiling here. Noticing how the hip opens up here and what sensations may be present. The inner part of the thigh, perhaps. Whatever sensations are here for you. Stopping when you need to, and then returning that knee back up to the center and clasping your hands back over or under the knee, and once again, drawing the knee up to your chest. Breathing. Noticing how that feels this time. And if you'd like to lift your forehead up towards that right knee, go ahead if you choose and breathe. And then one vertebra at a time, beginning to rest the back, noticing the shoulders touching and then the head. And so we're going to keep our leg in this position for a moment, but if your hands were resting over the knee, go ahead and clasp your fingers and place them behind the right thigh. So the knee is still bent, 90 degrees, and then extending out the lower leg. As far as is comfortable for you, beginning to wake up those sensations on the back of this right thigh, our hamstrings here. Breathing. And as you feel ready on the next out breath, drawing the right leg up towards your chest very slowly. A lot of sensations here. Hamstrings are often quite tight for many of us. Really touching in, tuning in to what is right for you, how far you feel you can go towards your chest without forcing anything, just discovering. Feeling the quality of the sensations here. And on the next out breath, if you choose to, going ahead and lifting your head up towards the knee and maybe coming up just a smidge more. Breathing. And then placing your hands to your side and kicking out that leg so it becomes stiff, pushing the heel away from you, and then very slowly allowing the right leg to just drift down with gravity. Breathing. Just anticipating when the heel may touch. And being with the moment of touch. As soon as the heel touches down for you, it takes a bit longer than you think with this level of attention. And then an in-breath and an out-breath, letting the toes flop out, opening up the palms, softening the features of the face. And indulging here in the sensations of the breath, this rise and fall. How does the body feel now? Is there a change or a difference perhaps in sensations on the right side and the left side of the body? Just noticing. So turning your palms down again. This time we'll keep our right leg outstretched flat and straight and begin to slide the left heel slowly up the surface. Breathing, lifting your knee up when that's right for you and going ahead again and clasping over or under this left knee. Continuing to draw the left knee up towards your chest with the breath. What's here on this side? How might it be experienced a bit differently than what had happened on the right side? Breathing, continuing to draw that knee up to the point where you feel you would like to stop. And if you'd like to explore a bit farther on an out breath, going ahead and maybe coming up just a drop more and seeing what might be here for you. Sometimes with this level of attention, we find that what we once thought was a limit or a boundary actually is not what we thought it was. When we unwrap our emotions and our fixed behaviors of thinking. And so releasing some of the tension, just a drop, and putting your left hand to your side, continuing to hold the left knee with your right hand. And then guiding the left knee across the body to the right. Just nice and slow, attending carefully to what's here for you as you turn your head to the left, doing your best to keep your shoulders flat to the surface, the left shoulder, and breathing. What's here for you? Are the sensations shifting in any way? Where are they shifting? Being with the sensations just as they are, without any judgment. You're doing everything just fine, just the way you are. Breathing. If you'd like to, perhaps on an out breath. Very slowly with care, perhaps continuing down just a drop more. And then continuing to bring that knee back up so it's pointing up to the ceiling and switching your hands, placing your right hand to your side, left hand now on the left knee, and begin opening up the hip to the left, letting the left knee fall outwards, seeing what may be present here. The sensations just as they are. And then returning the knee back up and taking both of your hands, clasping them together over or under, and once again drawing the left knee up towards your chest. Breathing and letting the forehead rise just a bit towards that left knee. And one vertebra at a time, going ahead and dropping the spine down, the shoulders, and the head. Feeling the breath, and then taking those fingers and interlacing them behind the left thigh. Once again, your knees at about 90 degrees, the hips at 90 degrees. Just resting comfortably here, breathing. And then extending out the lower leg as far as you'd like. You might stay bent. For some of you who are more flexible, it might be a bit more straight. Starting to wake up the back of this left thigh, our hamstrings here. Most of us will feel that. Maybe just taking a moment to touch in without fear or worry and just seeing what's here, exploring the sensations here, noticing right where they are. And if you would like to, on your next out breath, maybe checking out what it would be like to draw this leg up towards the chest just a little bit with the breath, stopping when you need to. And if you'd like to, here, lifting up your forehead towards the knee, and on an out breath, coming up just a smidge more or not. The side might be quite different than the other side. Lowering down one vertebra at a time till the head rests, placing your arms back to your side and kicking out the heels so the left leg is stiff and straight, beginning on an out breath to let the left leg continue down to join the right. Again, here, maybe anticipating the moment the left heel will touch down. Breathing. Whenever that heel does touch down, being with that moment of touch, and then an in-breath, and feeling the full weight of the legs melt into the floor, the toes out to the side, opening the palms, re-softening the features of your face, and being with your breath. How's the body feeling now? Left side versus the right side. Turning your palms down again, and this time going ahead and sliding both of your heels up until the soles of your feet are flat near your hips at a comfortable distance, hip width apart. Your knees should be pointing up to the ceiling. Taking a moment to be with one or two cycles of your breath. Should feel quite relaxed and released here. There's probably going to be a bit of an arch underneath the lowest part of your spine. So some space there. Just letting go of all muscles except for noticing the sensations of the breath. We'll move into a pelvic tilt. And so not getting so caught up in the breath in terms of coordinating it, but I'll guide us in this way. And so on an out breath, going ahead and flattening your low back. So the pelvis is beginning to tilt backwards, all the way up as far as you feel is right for you. And you should begin to feel a bit of tension created here in the back of the hips, the abdomen, the lower abdomen, breathing. And then on an in-breath, just releasing, letting the pelvis rock forward and recreating this arch. Moving as far as you'd like in terms of range of motion, exploring and continuing to move with your breath. As you flatten the back, feel this gentle tension being created in the back of the hips and the abdominals. And then as you release and let the pelvis roll forward, noticing the range here as your hips move forward and back over the spine, and breathing. Coming to stillness. And we'll move into a bridge position. And so with your palms continuing to be down, make sure to touch in with your breath prior to each one of our new movement patterns. And then coming back to home base for a moment. As you feel ready, lifting the hips up gently towards the ceiling, releasing tension in the arms and the hands, not forcing this, feeling as if you could hang here a bit. So not overdoing this, noticing a bit of tension and effort here in the back of the hips, maybe the back of the thighs, and breathing, maybe feeling the breath sweeping through the whole body here. Going ahead and pushing the heels and the shoulders away from one another and noticing this tendency to want to lift up a little higher with the breath. Coming out of these poses whenever you feel you need to. Breathing. And then here, one vertebra at a time from top down, beginning to lower the hips. Feeling the spine coming down. The low back will be flat. The pelvis will be tilted backwards until the hips touch. And then an in-breath And an out breath, let that pelvis just roll forward, recreate that gentle arch, and let go. Features of the face, release the shoulders, the arms, and feel the breath. And so let's go ahead and do that one more time as you feel ready. Going ahead and lifting the hips up, seeing if it's possible to release tension just a bit in the arms and shoulders. Finding a comfortable position here, pushing the shoulders and the hips away from one another and breathing. Again, not too high, just knowing you could hold this for a little bit. And then extending your fingertips out and beginning to let the arms rise up through gravity. Just maybe letting the wrists and the hands hang loose. The arms coming up, maybe noticing here the sensation of temperature and the air touching the skin, and letting the arms continue all the way overhead to a comfortable position. When they touch down, extending the fingers or the arms back away from the head and pushing those heels in the opposite direction just a bit. Feeling the tension behind the hips, maybe behind the thighs. And on an out breath, with your arms potentially still overhead, going ahead and lowering your spine. One vertebra at a time, feeling the low back touch and the hips touch. And then on the next out breath, letting the arms push up against gravity. Feeling the air touching the palms or rushing through the fingers, and just slowly letting the arms drift back down. Noticing as the hands return back to the surface. And as they touch down, an in-breath and an out-breath, letting the palms turn up, releasing the full weight of the arms into the surface and letting that pelvis rock forward, recreating a bit of an arch, just a soft, gentle arch. And breathing. Noticing how the body feels after these movement patterns. Maybe some thought patterns as well, the movement of your mind or emotions that may be evoked as we continue on with this yoga sequence, just perhaps touching into some familiar thought patterns of maybe self-doubt or I should be doing more or why can't I do this, and doing your best to step away from those patterns of thinking, knowing you're doing everything just fine, just the way you are here. There's nowhere to get to with this yoga sequence that we're doing today. And so going ahead and turning your palms down, bringing your ankles together and your knees together. So the feet are still flat, soles of the feet are flat, up by the hips, knees are pointed to the ceiling, but we've created one unit now. We'll move into a deeper trunk rotation here. And so your arms can either move outwards just a bit to 45 degrees, find a comfortable position, or interlace your fingers behind your head, opening up the shoulders and the chest. Breathing, and then maybe on the next out breath, whenever that is right for you, letting the knees as one unit fall to the left, turning your head to the right, doing your best to keep your shoulders on the right side flat to the surface. And so feeling the rotation of each vertebra in the spine from the base of the hips all the way up. Breathing, seeing what's here for you all the way down into the hip region, the low back, perhaps into the thighs or even the shoulders. Finding a spot where you can comfortably rest here and be with the breath. We're going to hold this pose for a couple cycles of the breath. And on each out breath, seeing if it's possible to let go a little bit more, release the tension, just to drop more, noticing what happens here. Are the sensations fixed and solid, or are you noticing a bit of change and shift? And so going ahead and engaging the lower abdominals just a bit as you safely lift those knees back upright towards the ceiling. And on the next out breath, letting the knees fall gently to your right, turning your head to the left, keeping the shoulders as flat as possible on the left. And seeing what's here. Breathing. Noticing on this side, it may feel very different than the other. And finding a comfortable position to perhaps stop the movement and be with your breath. Each out breath, this intentional release all the way through the body from the toes to the top of the head. Seeing what happens here. And then engaging those lower abdominals and returning the knees back up towards the ceiling. And going ahead and drawing your knees back up to your chest. Giving yourself a bit of a hug again. If you want to lift your head up, feel free. Feeling the pressure of the breath, the chest against the thighs. I'd like to go side to side here. Just rocking. Letting your spine return and the head back down. And then the legs opening and extending, returning to their original position, outstretched and straight. And an in-breath. And an out-breath. Opening the palms. Each out-breath, releasing all that's not needed here. Feeling more held, melting into the surface. Being with the fullness of the breath here for a few cycles on your own in stillness. How's the body feeling now? Quality of your attention, the activity of your mind. Being present to it all, right here. And so we'll be moving into hands and knees position. So taking your time to get there, just doing a brief stretch here, having your hands shoulder width apart, knees hip width apart. As you feel ready, moving into a cat and cow, going ahead and letting the belly sink down, raising the head and the tail, breathing, and then letting the upper back rise to the ceiling as you tuck your hips and your head in with the breath as far as you would like to go. And with the own rhythm of your breath, maybe moving in and out of this position, really noticing that we're moving the entire spine all the way from the sacrum to the base of the skull with the breath. Coming to stillness and letting your hips come all the way back down to your heels, keeping your palms flat and the arms extended, maybe just letting your forehead rest. Feeling that breath again, the pressure against the thighs, releasing any tension in the upper body, breathing. And going ahead and walking the right fingers out and away from the head. Getting to feel this trunk elongation on the right side of the body. You'd like to cross the fingertips over just a bit to the left, reaching still away from the head at the same time, and then maybe dipping that right hip down. Waking up a lot of sensations here. Just seeing what's present, walking the fingers back and letting that head return to a restful position and breathing. And then walking the left fingertips out and away from the head with the breath. Crossing the fingertips over if you'd like to, as you still continue sort of at an angle to move your fingers away from the head. Dipping your left hip down. What's here for you all the way from the shoulder, under the armpit, the entire left side of the torso. Breathing, returning that hand and extending the fingertips out one more time with the head released. And then slowly just letting those hands come up to your knees. And if you'd like to, if this is okay for you, coming up to your knees. Breathing, turning the palms away from one another and just letting those arms rise up, feeling the weight of the arms. Always something to attend to, the temperature of the air, feeling the air running through the fingers. Reaching up and extending with the breath and turning your palms away and just letting your arms gradually return down to your side with the breath. And as the hands touch down on your thighs, nice in-breath and out-breath. And let's go ahead and find a comfortable seated position. We'll begin our sitting meditation, or for you, you may choose to continue to be and maybe want to be lying down on a cushion, on a chair. Some people, you can do a mountain meditation in standing. This is a meditation that is typically done in sitting, but it doesn't have to be. Just finding what is right for you here. So our body feeling alive and awake. Going ahead and softening your gaze, closing your eyes as you feel ready. Touching into this body, sitting here in this new position, noticing the position you've chosen. Sensing in for a moment to the sounds and the space around you, to your environment. The air gently caressing your skin. And the breath. And so this posture that is upright and stable, a position of poise, with the upper body balanced over your hips and your shoulders in a comfortable and alert posture, hands on your lap or your knees, just hanging like heavy curtains, releasing any tension. Stable and relaxed. Beginning to sense into your body here. Once again, narrowing in your attention to the sensations of breathing, the actual physical sensations of the breath. Feeling the breath being received by the body, feeling the breath being released by the body. Just letting the breath be just as it is, its natural rhythm, without needing to change anything about the breath. Our bodies know how to breathe all by themselves. Just this ability we have to notice with intention. The body here sitting still with a sense of dignity, a sense of poise and resolve, knowing that you're complete and whole in this very moment. Your posture is reflecting this sense of wholeness. So as you're sitting here, beginning to let an image form in your mind's eye of the most beautiful mountain that you have seen or perhaps that you can imagine. Just letting it gradually come into greater focus. For some of us, it's hard to attach to a visual image. And if that's the case, just this felt sense of a mountain, feeling its overall shape. The peaks of the mountain that are lifted high into the sky, perhaps touching the clouds, all the way down to the large base of the mountain that is rooted and stable in the bedrock of the earth. The steep, gentle, sloping sides of the mountain, just how massive it is, how solid, how unmoving, and how beautiful. Whether you're viewing it from very far away or from up close. The mountain might have snow blanketing the top or trees that are reaching all the way to the bottom or the base. It may be rugged on the sides. There might be streams or waterfalls that are cascading, maybe a meadow or a high mountain lake. This mountain might have one peak or maybe a series of peaks. Just observing it and noticing its qualities. And as you feel ready, see if it's possible to bring this mountain into your own body. Your body's sitting here as a mountain. Your body and the mountain become one. So that as you're sitting here, you're sharing in the massiveness and in the stillness and the beauty, the majesty of this mountain. You're becoming the mountain, living and breathing as a mountain sitting here, grounded and stable in your posture. Your head acting as the peak. Supported by the rest of your body and this beautiful view of it all, panoramic and spacious from the top of the mountain. Your shoulders and your arms are the sides of the mountain, and your buttocks and legs become that solid base that's rooted to your cushion or your chair. And beginning to experience in your body perhaps a sense of uplift from deep within your pelvis and spine. And so with each breath, as you continue sitting in this way, becoming a little bit more of a breathing mountain, alive, vital, but unwavering in your inner stillness. Completely what you are, beyond words, beyond thought, a centered and grounded and unmoving presence. And as you're sitting here, becoming aware of the fact that The sun travels across the sky, and light and shadows and colors are changing moment by moment as the mountain sits in stillness. The surface of the mountain teems with life, activity, streams, melting snow, waterfalls, plants, wildlife. Seeing how night follows day, day follows night. The warm sun of the day followed by the coolness of the night and stars above. And then once again, the gradual dawning of a new day. And through it all, this mountain just sits, experiencing changes in each moment, constant changing, but always just being itself. It remains still as seasons flow into one another. Weather changes moment by moment or day by day. Calmness abiding all change. In the summer, of course, there's no snow except maybe on the very peaks of the mountain. And in the fall, the mountain wears this brilliant coat of color from its leaves. Of course, in the winter, the mountain has this white sheen of snow and ice. But in any one of the seasons, it may find itself enshrouded in clouds or fog, maybe even pelted by freezing rain. People may come to visit this mountain. Maybe they comment on how beautiful it is. Or maybe today it's not such a good day to see this mountain. It's just too cloudy, rainy, foggy, and dark. But none of this matters to the mountain, which remains at all times its essential self. Clouds may come and go. Tourists might like it or not. The mountain's magnificence and beauty aren't changed one slight bit by whether people see it or not. Seen or unseen, or in sun or clouds, whether it's hot or cold, whether it is day or night. It just sits, being itself. There's times when it experiences violent storms, heavy snow, thrashing rain, or winds of unthinkable magnitude. And through it all, this mountain just sits. Each spring, the trees begin to leaf out. The flowers begin to bloom, brilliant color and smell. The birds begin to sing, build their nests, have their babies in the trees once again, and the streams begin to flow more heavy and overflow with the melting snow. This mountain just sits, taking it all in, yet unmoved by the weather, by what's happening on its surface, by this world of appearances. Remains its essential self through the seasons, the changing weather, and the activity on its surface. Sitting in our meditation, We can choose to experience the mountain and embody the same unwavering stillness and groundedness in the face of all the changes, the ever changing circumstances of our own lives that happen over seconds or hours or days or years. We're constantly experiencing the changing nature of our mind and body and of the outer world. We have periods of light and darkness, periods of activity and inactivity. We experience our own storms of varying intensity and violence. These storms that are happening in the outer world as well as in our own minds and bodies. And we endure periods of darkness and pain, moments of joy and uplift. Even our outer appearance is constantly experiencing a weather of its own. In our meditation practice, if we choose to embody the mountain, maybe become the mountain, it can offer us the ability to maybe link up with the strength and stability of the mountain and maybe adopt them for our own and use the energy to support our energy as we encounter each moment with mindfulness and clarity. Bringing the mountain into our meditation can sometimes help us see that our thoughts and feelings and our preoccupations and ruminations, our own emotional storms and crises, that we tend sometimes to take it personally, but really its strongest characteristic is quite impersonal. We don't want to ignore or deny the weather of our own lives. We hope to encounter and honor and feel it all, know it for what it is, and hold it all in awareness. And as we hold it all in this way, we come to know a deeper silence and stillness and wisdom. Mountains have a lot to teach us and much more if we choose to let it in. So perhaps for the next few minutes, sitting here in stillness, as our essential selves grounded like the mountain, unwavering and unmoving, yet aware of it all. Perhaps we can sit in stillness in this way and take in the mountain in any way that you would like. Until we come back to the end of our meditation. grounded and still in the face of all change. Dignified and majestic. This ability to see it all with more clarity, just as it is. Remaining our essential self. Our values, our intentions, remaining the same, unwavering. So as we move to an end of this mountain meditation, taking a moment to come back to your anchor, to an area of focus that allows you to anchor yourself to something here in the present moment, perhaps coming back to the breath that's not comfortable, tending to sound or a particular bodily sensation. So bring awareness to the gentle and steady rhythm of the breath, perhaps in the next in-breath, allowing the warmth and the heartfulness, this compassion and kindness and love for yourself to fill the body all the way to the tips of your toes and to your fingers. This ability, capability you have to shift into a place of calmness and stability, to remain centered and clear. Just taking a moment to offer yourself some gratitude and appreciation for engaging in this form of self-care that can be so powerful. Setting the stage as you walk forward in your day. So going ahead and one more in-breath, filling this body, full capacity of the chest. Letting the breath spill out into the whole body, taller, deep uplift, and then this full release, maybe with a sigh, all the way to the bottom. And if you'd like to, maybe holding and pausing here at the bottom of this out breath. And then gradually, as you feel ready, just opening your eyes enough to bring in the light, staying present to what's here in your surroundings. As you lift your gaze and take in the shadows and the shapes and the colors, staying present. So I want to thank you all for joining me